Hi, my name is Betty Davis, and I'll be doing my project on hog farm pollution in North Carolina. I'm studying hog farm pollution because hog farming is a big part of controversy in North Carolina right now, and the study of hog farm pollution is important because the practice poses numerous threats to the health of the environment, humans, and the pigs themselves. In 2014, National Geographic wrote a piece on the extent of the contamination in North Carolina. Swine sales in the state were nearly $3 billion in 2012, and the state received attention in 1999 when Hurricane Floyd caused waste pods on the swine ponds to overflow, polluting the water supply. National Geographic suggested that despite the execution of a $17 million research project on waste in North Carolina, no one in the state seemed to know what to do with the pig waste, which is huge considering that there are nearly as many pigs in North Carolina as people. In this project, you'll hear me refer to CAFOs, and that just stands for a concentrated animal feeding operation, like a pig farm. So let's talk about the effects of pig farms on water quality. Many of these CAFOs store the swine waste in giant vats, which are often referred to as lagoons. These lagoons often contain pathogens such as salmonella, pharmaceuticals like antibiotics and antimicrobials, and nitrogen and phosphorus. This can lead to widespread pollution within the watershed that the CAFO is located within if the water from these lagoons leaches out into the soil and trickles down into the water table beneath. Unlike human sewage, which is always treated with chemical and mechanical filtration, the waste from these lagoons is untreated when it is released back into the environment. Spills are the most common contributor to pollution, but regardless of spills, toxic nutrients like nitrates and ammonia can seep into the water table located just below the surface, infecting the groundwater that nearby communities drink. Some spills and leakage of contaminated waste are not accidental. In 2014, Mark DeVries, a hog farmer in North Carolina, used spy drones to expose pig farms in North Carolina that were spraying untreated fecal waste into the surrounding areas, allowing the waste to dissipate into far-off communities. Now let's talk about effects on air quality. Communities located near CAFOs experience negative health and environmental effects due to several factors associated with industrial pig farming. One main issue that arises out of an intensive animal agriculture business is the waste that the huge number of animals in a small space produces. In the pig farming industry, there are huge amounts of waste, and farmers are pressed to find somewhere to put it and dispose of it. Pig waste is similar to human waste, which is filled with bacteria and high amounts of ammonia. Pig waste is often kept in huge lagoons near the farm and often, although illegal, sprayed into the air to get rid of it. The waste then reaches neighboring towns, resulting in civilians not being able to even leave their house in order to avoid pig waste-filled air. Further, chemicals are added to the manure in an effort to reduce the odor, but these chemicals change the composition of the manure such that when its particles enter the air, it can have adverse effects on the environment, such as acid causing rain. Now let's talk about disease spread. There are many documented incidences of disease outbreaks occurring due to the presence of pig farms in a given community, particularly industrial pig farms. MRSA, or methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, is a type of antibiotic-resistant bacteria, and outbreaks have been correlated to an individual working in a pig farm, which is likely attributed to the strong antibiotics often used in industrialized pig farms. Granted, many of these diseases that are caused by hog farm pollution are preventable given proper safety precautions such as washing hands and clothes, wearing face masks, and covering any open wounds when coming into contact with pigs. However, many improvements could be made to educate farmers on how to protect themselves. Improvements in these areas are often cited as the reason for the lack of increase in disease outbreaks in North Carolina, despite an increase in pig population by a factor of 4 in the years leading up to 1998. In order to prevent disease spread in the community as well, citizens in nearby towns as well as farmers must be educated and equipped with the proper tools and resources to protect themselves from the spread of fecal matter and associated diseases. Now let's get into the green criminology part, and let's talk about the policies within North Carolina. In the 1970s, a series of laws, known as Murphy's Laws, were passed in North Carolina to eliminate the sales tax on hog farm equipment and to prevent authorities from using authority to prevent and address odor issues. After the passage of Murphy's Laws and other similar bills, there was a rapid increase in industry in North Carolina, where the population of swine was estimated around 9 to 10 million. Each of these hogs produces 8 times the feces as a human, causing a crucial need for regulation and maintenance for that waste. Ag-gag laws have made it even more difficult for farms to be held accountable for their actions, and for communities to have a transparent view of farm operations. These laws forbid the undercover videotaping or documenting of farms without the consent of the farm's owner. These laws are targeted at keeping animal rights and environmental activists away from the most damaging farm operations. These laws emerged in the 1990s and are now in effect in North Carolina, Utah, Missouri, Idaho, and Iowa, and is being considered in at least 5 other states. These bills have the potential to exacerbate animal abuse on the large-scale farms and CAFOs, as well as threaten community health, social justice, and consumer health by restricting organizations and individuals from sharing pertinent information about the food supply. The EPA does require that operations with qualified number of pigs must demonstrate that there is no runoff from their farm in order for them to acquire a permit. But this regulation varies from state to state, and most of the time, enforcement only happens in response to citizen complaints rather than active monitoring. Further, locally developed policies often have inefficient resources and abilities to enforce regulation, and often don't address transboundary issues that arise with pig operations that exist across multiple states. And with federal laws such as the Clean Water and Clean Air Act, regulation is delegated to state agencies, but these agencies don't usually take on active regulation until the damage has been done. Further, many operations are exempt because they have been grandfathered in, meaning they have been in operation for so long that they are not subject to the new laws.